Picture this, rolling green fields stretching to the horizon, bursting with healthy crops that seem to glow with vitality. No chemical smell in the air, no synthetic fertilizer bags stacked in barns, just pure, thriving agriculture that's been perfected over generations. This isn't some fantasy, it's the reality of Amish farming communities across America, where farmers have maintained soil fertility and crop productivity for centuries without ever touching a bag of synthetic fertilizer. As gardeners in our modern world, we've become so dependent on quick-fix solutions that we've forgotten the time-tested wisdom our ancestors used to create some of the most productive and sustainable agricultural systems ever developed. The Amish haven't forgotten, and their methods hold incredible lessons for anyone serious about building truly healthy, productive soil in their own garden. When you walk through an Amish farm, the first thing that strikes you is the soil itself. It's dark, crumbly, and literally teeming with life. This isn't an accident. It's the result of treating soil not as a container for plants, but as a complex living ecosystem that needs care, feeding, and respect. The Amish approach starts with a fundamental principle that most of us have lost touch with. Healthy soil creates healthy plants, which create healthy food. They understand that soil contains billions of microorganisms, earthworms, beneficial fungi, and countless other creatures that work together to break down organic matter, cycle nutrients, and create the perfect environment for plant roots to thrive. Where modern agriculture often fights against nature with chemicals and synthetic inputs, Amish farmers work with these natural systems. They know that when you feed the soil organisms properly, they'll take care of feeding your plants. It's a partnership that's been refined over hundreds of years, and the results, well, they speak for themselves in the form of consistently high yields and incredibly resilient crops. If there's one practice that defines Amish farming success, it's their unwavering commitment to crop rotation. This isn't the simple "don't plant tomatoes in the same spot twice" advice you might have heard. This is a sophisticated system that treats your garden like a carefully orchestrated symphony. A typical Amish rotation might follow a 4-year cycle. Corn the first year, followed by soybeans, then wheat with a clover cover crop, and finally a year of hay or pasture. Each crop serves a specific purpose in building and maintaining soil fertility. The corn is a heavy nitrogen feeder that takes advantage of the soil's stored nutrients. The soybeans, being legumes, actually fix nitrogen from the air and deposit it in the soil through their root nodules, essentially creating fertilizer for the next crop. So, the wheat provides a different root structure that helps break up soil compaction, while the clover that's seeded with it continues adding nitrogen and provides ground cover to prevent erosion. The final year of hay or pasture allows the soil to rest and rebuild, while the deep-rooted perennial grasses bring up nutrients from lower soil layers. You can adapt this wisdom to your home garden by never planting the same family of vegetables in the same area 2 years in a row. Follow those heavy feeders like tomatoes and corn with nitrogen-fixing beans or peas. It's a good idea to include cover crops like crimson clover or winter rye in unused sections of your garden. Even in the smallest space, you can rotate crops in containers or raised beds to give your soil the diversity it craves. Walk into any Amish barn and you'll quickly understand why their farms are so productive. They've mastered the art of turning what many consider waste into gardening gold. But, hey, this isn't just about collecting manure and throwing it on the fields. The Amish have developed sophisticated composting and manure management systems that maximize the fertilizing power while minimizing any potential problems. Fresh manure is never applied directly to growing crops. Instead, it's composted for months, often mixed with bedding materials like straw or sawdust that add carbon and help create the perfect conditions for beneficial microorganisms to break down the organic matter into readily available plant nutrients. This composting process not only prevents burning of plants but also eliminates harmful pathogens and weed seeds, while creating a rich, stable soil amendment. The timing of manure application is equally important. Most Amish farmers apply composted manure in the fall, giving it time to integrate with the soil over winter. This slow release of nutrients matches perfectly with how plants naturally grow. providing steady nutrition throughout the growing season rather than the quick spike and crash that comes with synthetic fertilizers. For home gardeners, you can follow these principles even if you don't have livestock. Seek out well-aged manure from local farms or create your own compost using kitchen scraps, yard waste, and any organic matter you can find. The key is achieving the right carbon-to-nitrogen ratio and giving the materials time to properly decompose before adding them to your garden. Perhaps no single practice has more impact on long-term soil health than the Amish commitment to cover crops. While modern agriculture often leaves fields bare between growing seasons, Amish farmers ensure their soil is always covered with living plants that are actively building fertility. These aren't cash crops, they're investments in soil health that pay dividends for years to come. Crimson clover, winter rye, and Austrian winter peas are common choices, each bringing specific benefits to the soil. The legumes fix nitrogen from the atmosphere, while grasses like rye create extensive root systems that improve soil structure and prevent erosion. When these cover crops are tilled under in spring, they add massive amounts of organic matter to the soil. This feeds the soil organisms, improves water retention, and creates the dark, crumbly soil structure that makes Amish farms so distinctive. It's like giving your soil a vitamin-packed meal that keeps working for months. In your home garden, you can plant cover crops in any area that won't be used for a season. Even a small patch of clover or buckwheat can make a significant difference in soil health. In colder climates, winter rye planted in fall will grow slowly through winter and provide a lush green carpet to till under in spring. In warmer areas, crimson clover or field peas can grow through the winter months. Composting on Amish farms isn't just about recycling kitchen scraps, it's a science that's been refined over generations, to create the richest, most nutritious soil amendment possible. Every organic material on the farm has a purpose, from fallen leaves to crop residues to kitchen waste, and all of it is carefully managed to create what gardeners often call black gold. The Amish approach to composting really emphasizes getting the right ratios of carbon-rich brown materials like straw and leaves with nitrogen-rich green materials like fresh grass clippings and kitchen scraps. They make sure to maintain proper moisture levels and turn their piles regularly to keep the decomposition process on track. The result is this dark, sweet-smelling compost that just transforms any soil it touches. What really sets their composting apart is, the attention to detail and the scale at which they operate. Large compost windrows are built systematically with layers of different materials that create just the perfect conditions for all those beneficial microorganisms. These piles are closely monitored for temperature and moisture, turned at specific intervals, and aged until they reach the perfect consistency and nutrient profile. And, you can apply these same principles in your own backyard composting system. Focus on maintaining a good balance of brown and green materials, keep your pile as large as you can to retain heat, and be patient with the process. Well-made compost is honestly worth its weight in gold when it comes to building soil fertility naturally. One of the most brilliant aspects of Amish farming is how seamlessly livestock are integrated into the whole soil fertility system. Animals aren't just sources of meat, milk, or eggs, they're essential partners in building and maintaining soil health through their natural behaviors, and of course their waste products. Cattle and horses provide the obvious benefit of manure, but their integration goes much deeper than that. Rotational grazing systems allow animals to fertilize pastures naturally, while their hooves help work organic matter right into the soil. Chickens follow behind the larger animals, spreading manure as they go, while eating insects and weed seeds, which creates a natural pest control system that also adds to soil fertility. This integrated approach means that every animal on the farm serves multiple purposes in the soil-building ecosystem. Even the timing of when animals graze certain areas is carefully planned out to maximize their contribution to soil health, without causing compaction or overgrazing. Home gardeners can adopt modified versions of these principles by, keeping chickens for both eggs and natural fertilizer, or by arranging to get aged manure from local livestock operations. Some creative gardeners even use portable chicken coops to let their birds naturally fertilize and prepare garden beds during the off-season. Amish farmers, they really understand that healthy soil and proper water management go hand in hand. Their soil-building practices create earth that acts like a giant sponge, holding moisture during dry periods and draining properly during wet weather. This natural water management system, well, it reduces the need for irrigation while protecting crops during both droughts and floods. The high organic matter content in Amish farm soil can actually hold many times more water than chemically treated soil. Combined with cover crops and proper drainage, this creates remarkably resilient growing conditions that depend far less on perfect weather patterns. Their approach to water conservation includes strategic placement of crops, use of windbreaks to reduce evaporation, and careful attention to soil structure that promotes deep water infiltration. These practices, developed over generations of farming without modern irrigation systems, offer honestly some really valuable lessons for gardeners dealing with water restrictions or unpredictable weather patterns. Their soil-building practices take years to fully develop, but once established, they create incredibly productive and resilient growing systems that can maintain themselves with minimal outside inputs. This long-term perspective influences every decision, from when to plant and harvest, to how to manage crop residues, and when to apply organic amendments. Rather than trying to maximize short-term yields with synthetic inputs, they focus on building systems that will be productive and healthy for generations. This patience extends to understanding that soil health improvements happen gradually but permanently. Each year of proper organic management builds on the previous year, creating compound improvements in soil structure, nutrient availability, and biological activity. The beauty of Amish farming methods is that their core principles scale perfectly to gardens of any size. Whether you're working with acres or just a few raised beds, you can implement these time-tested practices to build incredibly productive, sustainable growing systems. Start by thinking of your garden as an ecosystem rather than just a place to grow plants. Focus on feeding the soil organisms through compost and organic matter additions. Implement crop rotation even in small spaces by changing what you grow in each area from year to year. Use cover crops in unused areas or during off-seasons to keep building soil health. Most importantly, adopt the long-term perspective that makes Amish farming so successful. Every organic amendment you add, every cover crop you plant, and every season you resist the temptation of quick-fix synthetic solutions is an investment in building truly healthy, productive soil that will serve you for decades to come. The Amish have proven that synthetic fertilizers aren't necessary for incredible productivity and soil health. Their methods offer us a roadmap back to sustainable, regenerative growing practices that work with nature rather than against it. By implementing these time-tested principles in your own garden, you're not just growing better plants, you're becoming part of a farming tradition that has sustained communities and nourished families for generations. Ready to start your own journey toward chemical-free abundance? These principles are just the beginning of what's possible when you commit to working with nature's own systems. If this deep dive into Amish farming wisdom has inspired you to rethink your approach to soil health, make sure to subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles for more insights into sustainable gardening practices that actually work. And don't forget to share this article with fellow gardeners who are ready to discover the incredible potential of truly healthy soil, because the best gardens grow when knowledge is shared.